Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture in the lecture series of fruits and vegetable processing technology. Today we will be studying about processing of fruits and vegetable in order to make them into different products. Okay, so first of all let's see about fruit beverages. So first of all, beverages. Okay, so fruit beverages are easily digestible, highly refreshing, thirst quenching, appetizing and nutritionally superior to many of the synthetic aerated drinks, right? Nowadays we are getting a lot of carbonated drinks in the market, but nutritionally if we see, those are just empty calories. Fruit beverages provide much more better nutrition. They provide a lot of vitamins and nutrients compared to your carbonated beverages. So they can also be these fruit beverages, they can be classified into two groups. So these groups are unfermented beverages and then fermented beverages. In this lecture our main focus will be on unfermented beverages. So fruit juices which do not undergo alcoholic fermentation are termed as your unfermented beverages. That is, the alcoholic fermentation is not there, there is no production of alcohol in them, so that's why they are termed as unfermented beverages. They include natural juices or sweetened juices, RTS, that is ready to serve juices, nectar, cordial, squash, crush, syrups, fruit juice concentrates and fruit juice powders. Okay, so barley water and carbonated beverages are also included in this unfermented beverage group. Okay, so there are certain carbonated fruit beverages also present in the market. So all of these are categorized as or classified as unfermented beverages. Okay, now under fermented beverages, fruit juices which have undergone alcoholic fermentation. So in order to be classified as fermented beverages, alcoholic fermentation is must. Okay, by yeast, including wine, champagne, port, sherry, tokay, muscat, perry, orange wine, okay, berry wine, nira and cider. So all of these are alcoholic fermented fruit beverages and they contain some amount of alcohol in them. So generally these fermented beverages are fermented using yeast. Yeast breaks down the glucose in order to form alcohol. Okay, so next let's see how this preparation of unfermented fruit beverages is done. So in general we'll see all the steps that are involved in preparation of unfermented beverages. So preparation and preservation of unfermented beverages include, like, your first step is selection of fruits. So this is the most important step. Why? Because the quality of your final beverage or the quality of your final product depends on the quality of your fruits which you are selecting for making your beverage. Okay, so the variety and maturity of the fruit and locality of cultivation influences the flavor keeping quality of the juice. Okay, so if you're using fresh fruits and vegetables, so they in turn will give you more like a better juice, okay, compared to overripe or underripe fruits, right? Or the fruits, suppose if the fruits that are being used are of inferior quality and have been damaged or spoiled, so they will not give the adequate or a fresh taste in the juice itself. Only fully ripe fruit are selected. Overripe and green fruits, if used, adversely affects the quality of your juice. Okay, so if you are using overripe or underripe green fruit, so they will adversely affect or they will deteriorate the quality or the taste of your final product. Okay, so first step, selection of fruits. Second step is sorting and washing. So after you have selected your fruits, so you have to go for sorting. That is, you have to separate out spoiled ones from your good ones. Okay, you will only use the good fruits in order to make a better unfermented beverage. So diseased, damaged, decayed fruits are rejected or trimmed. That is, if a certain part of your fruit is damaged, so you need to trim it. Suppose in case of apple, if there is a bruise on one part of the apple, you need not discard the full apple. You can just trim that part and use the rest. Dirt, spray residues of arsenic, lead, etc. are removed by washing with water and dilute hydrochloric acid. That is, in case you are using HCl or hydrochloric acid, so you will use 1 part acid in 20 parts of water. Okay, so both plain water and acidulated water can be used for washing of your fruits and vegetable in order to wash out the impurities or any residues from your pesticides or any agricultural application of these chemicals. Okay, so first step was selection of fruit, and second step was your sorting and washing. Now coming on to the third step is your juice extraction. So after you have selected your good fruit or better quality fruit, then you have sorted it from selected the good ones and discarded the damaged ones and washed them. So you go for juice extraction. Okay, so juice extraction, the third step. So generally juice is extracted from fresh fruits by crushing and pressing them. Screw type juice extractors. Okay, so generally these are most commonly used, screw type juice extractors. Okay, so because screw type like at the open end where the pitch of the screw is larger, so you will put your fruits and as the screw rotates in a closed cylinder, so the fruit, it will the pitch of the screw decreases along with the length, so the juice will be extracted since the space is less for the fruit pulp to pass. Okay, basket presses, fruit pulpers are mostly used. The method of extraction differs from fruit to fruit because of differences in their structure and composition. Yes, because method of fruit extraction, suppose you are extracting fruit from your watermelon, so that method will differ. You need to pulp the fruit, you need to crush the pulp and sieve it through a filter in order to remove the seeds, when compared to mango, which has a has a very big seed. Okay, so that in that case you need to extract the pulp, remove the seed, and then you need to extract the juice out of the pulp. So the method of extraction of fruit differs from fruit to fruit since their structure is different. Okay, now fourth step in your extraction, or like in your preparation of beverage, fruit beverage, is your deaeration. See, fruit juices, when you are extracting juice from your fruit, so during that process some air may be incorporated into the juice. We need to remove that because it can lead to fermentation, or it can lead to deterioration in the quality of your juice and taste also, or it can cause oxidation of your fruit. Contains some air, most of which is present on the surface of the juice, and some of it is dissolved into the juice. So most of the air as well as other gases are removed by subjecting the fresh juice to high vacuum, that is your juice. It will be subjected to vacuum pressure, that is negative pressure, which will in turn extract all the air from the juice. Okay, so this process is called deaeration, and the equipment utilized for this purpose are called your deaerators, that is they will remove the air from your juice. So fourth step was your deaeration. Next step, coming on to straining or filtration, is after you have extracted your fruit juice, now you need to strain it because it may contain a certain amount of pulp, some other seeds that might have come during the extraction process, or it may be cloudy. Okay, so you need to remove that in order to produce a clear juice. In certain cases where you require a clarified juice, you need to strain it. Okay, so fruit juices always contain varying amount of suspended matter. Okay, this suspending matter here in this case can be your broken fruit tissue, seed, skin, gums, pectinic substances, and protein in colloidal suspension. Okay, so seeds and pieces of pulp and skin which will adversely affect the quality of your fruit juice are removed by simple straining through the thick cloth or sieve. Okay, so this seed or broken pulp tissues and skin can be simply removed by sieving it through a thick cloth or a filter or a sieve. Okay, removal of suspended matter improves the appearance but often results in disappearance of fruity characteristic or flavor, like in case of mango juice. Okay, so if the mango juice we are clarifying or we are removing the colloidal suspension, it will not give you that fruity taste in your mango juice. Okay, so it need to be pulpy. Okay, so the present practice is to let fruit juices and beverage retain a cloudy or pulpy appearance to some extent, like your orange juice. If it is clarified, it might give you a orange taste, but it will not give you that texture. Okay, the customer will not be delighted in drinking that juice. So certain amount of orange pulp is left intentionally into your fruit juice while packaging. Okay, it is not removed. So in case of grapefruit, okay, so in case of grapefruit or apple juice or lime juice, cordial, however, brilliantly clear appearance is preferred. Okay, so you must have seen grape juice or apple juice in market. So if it is more clear, it is a clarified juice, so customer will prefer that type of juice. So in these cases, all that pulp or colloidal suspension is removed and the juice is given a perfectly transparent or a clear texture or clear appearance. So next step after straining and filtration is your clarification. Okay, what does this clarification means? Complete removal of all suspended material from juices is called your clarification. That is, so proteins might form a suspended material in your juices, or there might be cloudiness in your juice. So these are clarified by using various chemicals which we'll study later. Okay, as the this complete clarification is not required in all the juices, but in particular juices like apple juice or grape juice or lime cordial. So it is required in specific juices and is known as clarification, which is closely related to quality, appearance and flavor of the juice. Okay, in those certain or specific juices. So this clarity or clarification will give you a particular appearance which will appeal the customer and give it a better quality look. Okay, it will also affect the flavor, of course, when you are removing all the protein, colloid or suspending material, that is the part of the fruit. So it will change the flavor or the taste of the juice. The following methods are used for clarification. So first one is setting, that is the juice is stored in a carboy or barrel after adding a chemical preservative to ensure that it does not undergo fermentation. See, in order to set your juice, that is, you need to keep it undisturbed for some time, for a period of time, so that all the colloidal suspension or the suspended material will settle down and you can remove the upper portion. So in order to do that, you need to leave it undisturbed for a particular period of time, and during that period of time your fruit juice might go fermentation. So in order to prevent that fermentation, you have to add certain preservative. Okay, so example, lime juice is stored for 3 to 6 months for setting with the addition of 700 ppm sulfur dioxide. Here sulfur dioxide prevents your fermentation, and an amount of 700 ppm is used for this lime juice in order to prevent it from fermentation, and is allowed to set for 3 to 6 months in order to remove the suspended particle. Okay. Now colloidal pectin, gum, protein, mucilaginous solids settle down and the juice is siphoned off for further treatment. However, the process is very slow. Yeah, obviously we are leaving it for undisturbed for 3 to 6 months, so it is a very slow process, and you will not get the exact filtered out solution. You have to siphon only the top layer of the fruit juice. Okay, so it is a little slow process settling. Now next one is your filtration. Okay, so in this method of clarification, so these are all the methods we are studying for clarification. Okay, so filtration is necessary to remove completely all fine and colloidal suspensions. That is, you have to remove all suspended and colloidal particles from your fruit juice by passing it through a filter. Okay, in this process the juice after straining is forced through filtering medium. Okay, here filtering medium can be either cotton pulp, wood pulp or woven fiber cloth. Okay, but passing it through these filter mediums may remove the taste or may add some unwanted, unnecessary taste to the fruit juice. Okay, now next method of clarification is your freezing. Okay, the pasteurized juice or the extracted juice is frozen to at minus 18 degrees Celsius. Okay, it is frozen at minus 18 degrees Celsius and thereafter stored for 4 to 7 days at room temperature. So what it will do when the fruit juice is thawing, so all the solid particles or the heavy particles will settle down. This is a costly method and is used to some extent only for clarification of grape juice. Okay, it is not used for all type of juices, only for particular type of juice where perfect clarity or transparency is required. So this is the third method of clarification, that is freezing. Okay, next method is your cold storage. Okay, so in cold storage generally what happens is your juices or juices which require clarification, for example grape juice, is stored at minus 2 to 3 degree Celsius. That is, it is stored from minus 2 to minus 3 degree Celsius. Okay, for 1 month, during which the suspended matter settles down and clear juice can be taken out and then be taken out. Okay, so at lesser temperature, so the settling will be little bit faster. Okay, so within 1 month your all the heavy particles or the suspended or the colloidal particles will settle down. Okay, your fifth method of clarification is your high temperature. So what happens at high temperature is your juice is heated to 82 degrees Celsius for about 1 minute when the colloidal material coagulates and settles down. Okay, so when you're heating it, so the colloidal suspension or the colloidal solution will break down and the dispersed phase will settle down. Okay, after cooling rapidly, the juice is then mixed with a filter aid and passed through a filter press. Okay, so pomegranate juice is prepared by this method. Okay, after cooling it down, like first you have heated it to 82 degrees Celsius and then you are cooling it down. So after cooling it down, you are adding a filter aid. Okay, now this filter aid has a disadvantage that it may add an unwanted taste. Okay, see, it is not required, it is not natural. These are filter aids, are your chemicals or some external material, it may be natural or chemical or artificially made. So these are not required in the fruit juice, but in order to clarify it, these are being added when it is cooled down. So they may change the taste or may impart a different taste or may modulate the taste or modify the taste of your fruit juice. Plus, when you're heating it at 82 degrees Celsius, so many nutrients in your fruit juice may get destroyed. Okay, so this is your fifth method of clarification, that is heating it to a high temperature or heat treatment. Now your next method is your chemicals, that is addition of chemicals. Fining agents such as gelatin, albumin, casein and a mixture of tannin and gelatin are also used for clarification. That is, all these chemicals can be added to your fruit juice and they will help coagulate or settle your colloidal or suspended particles in your fruit juice, and they will become heavy and they will settle down very fast. So this is your sixth method, that is addition of certain chemicals like gelatin, albumin, casein and a mixture of tannin and gelatin. Okay, so again we are adding chemical in this case, so that will not be a natural juice or it will not be completely, so these may be counted as additives in the juice. Okay, so you must have read on the label of your fruit juice when you are buying a fruit juice that certain clarifying agents are added in order to give a particular clarity or transparency to the fruit juice. So these are certain chemicals only. Next step in your preparation of unfermented beverage is your addition of sugar. See, after extraction, after filtration and clarification, you will go for addition of sugar. Certain juices, they require addition of certain amount of sweetness, that is their sweetness needs to be increased to a certain level. Okay, suppose you are a juice manufacturer and you're manufacturing and packaging and selling your juice. So every time the fruit you import or every time the raw material you get may not be equally sweet. So in order to maintain a particular consistency in the sweetness of your fruit juice, you need to add certain amount of sugar. Okay, so all juices are sweetened by adding sugar except those of grape and apple. Okay, if you add sugar in your grape and apple juice, so they will become cloudy. So that is why it is not added in your grape and fruit juice. Sugar also acts as a preservative for the flavor, color and prolongs the keeping quality. Like apart from giving sweetness, it also acts as a preservative for your flavor, color and it prolongs the keeping quality. Okay, sugar based products can be divided into these three categories on basis of your sugar content. That is, sugar based fruit juices in which are sweetened, they can be divided into this particular categories. First one is low sugar juices, in which they have 30% sugar or below, that the sugar that is added is 30% or below in low sugar juices. Then we have medium sugar juices or medium sugar fruit beverages in which sugar is above 30% but below 50%. Then high sugar fruit beverages in which sugar is above 50%. Okay, so this above 50%, they are extremely sweet and their keeping quality or the shelf life is also very high, because when you're adding sugar, so it will slow down or inhibit the microbial growth, hence the keeping quality or your shelf life of your fruit juice will extend several times. Sugar can be added directly into the juice or it can be added as a syrup. Okay, either you can add it directly or you can first convert it into syrup made by dissolving it in hot water, clarifying by addition of a small quantity of citric acid and a few drops of lime and filtering. That is, either you can directly add sugar and dissolve it into your fruit juice, or you can convert it into your syrup by adding a certain amount of hot water. In order to clarify, when you dissolve sugar in hot water, so the solution will be certainly the solution will have certain amount of cloudiness. So in order to clarify that, you add a little amount of citric acid or few drops of lime juice and then filter it in order to remove that cloudiness. Okay, so in this case we can also use invert syrup, in which again you're using you're converting your sucrose into your simpler sugars. The advantage is if you are using invert syrup, it will have a sweetness 2.5 times that of normal sugar, plus it will not crystallize. Okay, so you can also use invert syrup in this case. Now next step is your fortification. See, juices or fruit juices can act as a nutraceutical. It can act as a functional food also by imparting certain amount of nutrition. Fruits naturally contain lots of vitamins and minerals, plus like during your treatment or during your processing, certain amount of vitamins and minerals may get lost or they may get destroyed. In order to compensate for that, or in order to convert your in order to add additional nutrition to your fruit juices, you can go for fortification. Okay, so fortification juices, squashes, syrup, etc. are sometimes fortified with your vitamins to enhance their nutritive value, to improve taste. Okay, sometimes your citric acid and ascorbic acid or some certain other acids, organic acids, which also serve as a nutrition, are added to improve the taste, texture and color, and to replace nutrients lost during processing. Okay, so that is why fortification is done. Usually ascorbic acid, beta carotene, citric acid, phosphoric acid are often used for different types of fruit beverages and carbonated drinks. Okay, so they are added in different types of fruit beverages and carbonated drinks, so in order to provide them certain texture, taste or color. Okay, plus they also improve the nutrition. The main purpose of adding these nutrients or additional nutrients is to improve the nutrition or to compensate for the nutrients that have been lost during processing. Okay, so fortification can help make your fruit beverages more healthier. Now next is preservation. So in this step, the main purpose is to increase the keeping quality or the shelf life of your fruit juices. So fruit juices, RTS, that is ready to serve beverages, nectar, are preserved by pasteurization and sometimes by chemical preservatives are also used. So squashes, crushes, cordial are preserved only by adding certain chemicals. So in case of fruit juices, RTS or nectar, they can be pasteurized, but sometimes chemicals are also used in this case. But in case of squashes, crushes, cordial, only chemical preservatives are used, because these are concentrated form, and if you heat them, so the taste will deteriorate. Okay, fouling will occur and the taste of the fruit will be like, it will impart a particular burnt taste to the product. Okay, so in the case of syrup, sugar concentration is sufficient to prevent spoilage. So in case of syrup or certain concentrates in which we are reducing the moisture content or increasing the sugar, we are adding additional sugar or we are increasing the sugar concentration, so that alone is sufficient to increase the shelf life for certain months. Okay, because it will not allow for the microbial spoilage, it will not allow the microbes to grow in that case. Okay, fruit juice concentrates are preserved by heating, freezing and adding chemicals. Okay, so these are all the categories of unfermented fruit beverages and the methods by which they are preserved or by which their shelf life is increased. After all the processes, the last step is your bottling. So in bottling, first the bottles in which your fruit juice has to be packed or fruit beverage has to be packed need to be thoroughly washed with hot water and filled. Like while filling, you have to leave a headspace of 1.5 to 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so they are then sealed either with crown corks by crown corking machine or with caps by capping machines. Okay, so these are either fitted with the crown cork or with your caps. Okay, which will not allow the you have to make sure that these caps or sealing does not allow water or air to pass through it. They should be airtight and water resistant, that water should not be able to pass through them, otherwise it will affect your fruit quality, the beverage quality adversely, and might also lead to reduction in the shelf life in case a breach of air or water is there. So this is your last step in your fruit beverage preparation, that is bottling. Okay, now coming on to different types of juices. So juices are your one of the main fruit beverage which is unfermented and are consumed globally, and they have a very high nutritive value. Okay, so the juices are of two types. One is natural juice, that is pure juice after filtration or after pulping or after extraction of juice, that juice directly served to the consumer, that is your natural juice or your pure juice. Okay, so it is the juice as extracted from the ripe fruit and contains only the natural sugar, so no additive, no sugars have been added. It is simply the natural fruit juice that has been extracted from the pulp or from the fruit. So next type is sweetened juice. So in sweetened juice, what happens, it is a liquid product which contains at least 85% juice and 10% sugars that has been added. Okay, external sugars. So this is your sweetened juice. It should contain at least a minimum 10% of your added sugars. Now pure fruit juice such as apple juice, orange juice are commercially manufactured in several countries. So your pure fruit juice are manufactured and packed and sold in several countries as your natural fruit juice without any addition of sugar. Okay, then apple juice is generally bottled while other juice are canned. Okay, so like nowadays we have Del Monte selling natural fruit juices without addition of sugar, in which you can see fruit pulp or certain fruit like pieces of fruits in order to enhance the taste or in order to give a natural taste to the fruit juice. So apple juice is bottled, even grape juice is bottled, while other fruit juices are canned usually. Okay, now third category is your blended juice. Okay, so those were the types of juices. Now blended juice, it may be either natural juices or might be sweetened juices. So this is another category, that is your blended juices, in which you mix one or more type of natural fruit juices or sweetened fruit juices in order to give a new product. Okay, to give it a different type of taste. Sometimes two or more juices are mixed to yield a well balanced, rightly flavored, highly palatable and refreshing drink. So juices are blended so as to utilize a too sweet juice and a bitter juice, too acidic or tartaric like fruits, they have a tart taste. So tart fruit like sour lime, sour plum, galgal, sour cherry, etc. Bland and insipid tasting fruits like pear, apple and strongly flavored fruits. Okay, so they are mixed in order to utilize different types of fruits. See, we have a lot of variety of fruits, right? All these fruits, they may not be consumable as it is, or they may not be capable of producing the juice as such, or the customer may not like the pure juice from a certain fruit. So these are in turn blended with other fruits in order to provide the nutritional benefit from that fruit and and give the taste of the other fruit. For example, aloe vera juice is added to a lot of different varieties of fruit juices in order to utilize the benefits of aloe vera, giving the taste of the fruit. So these are your blended fruits. Now some of the common types of commercial blended juices are grape and lime juice, in which 97% grape is there and 3% lime is there. Now another blended juice is grape, in which 50% grape and 50% orange is there. Then a blended juice of orange and grapefruit, in which the composition may vary. Then apple and lime juice, 97% apple, 3% lime, apple, grapefruit and 1% sugar, in which your 74% apple is there, grapefruit is 25% and 1% sugar is added. Okay, apple and pineapple juice and plus which is sweetened with 1% sugar. Then another type of your blended juice is apple and plum juice, in which apple, plum and certain amount of sugar is added in order to make a blended juice. So these are not limited, the blended juices are not limited to only these. There are several hundred types of blended juices that can be found by mixing one or different kind of fruit along with some certain other sugars or certain other tastes. Okay, so this was your blended juice. Now you can see here. So this is the flow diagram for preparation of your apple juice and your grape juice. So in case of apple juice, So in case of apple juice, you can see after apples have been received, washing will be there with 1.5% HCl. Then grating, that is in order to remove the pulp, these apples are grated or crushed. Crushing of this grated apple pulp will be there, in which the juice extraction will take place, generally using bucket presses. Then after they have been crushed, after the pulp has been crushed, you will get a sort of very crushed pulp. So this will then be strained using strainers in order to remove the juice out of that crushed pulp. Now this juice that has been received or that has been formed after crushing will be sent for clarification. Now clarification may be done by adding certain chemicals or by certain enzymes. In this case of apple, it can be done either by enzyme or gelatin. Okay, after clarification, filtration will be there so as to remove all the particles or suspended particles or colloidal particles that have been removed or separated during your clarification. Okay, so after filtration, your fruit juice will be heated to around 82 to 85 degrees Celsius in order to like give it a certain shelf life, in order to give increase the shelf life. Okay, now hot filling into cans, then sealing, and then processing at 100 degree Celsius for 15 minutes in order to like pasteurize or kill all the microbes that are present in your apple juice. Okay, so these cans, after sealing, they are given heat treatment. Okay, so then cooling will be there, and then these are stored at your low temperature in order to serve it as in order to extend the shelf life or to prevent any microbial growth. Okay, now next is your grape juice. So in case of grape juice, we'll see after receiving of grapes which either may be colored or white grapes, so these are washed thoroughly, then removal of stalk. So sometimes in grapes, stalk will be there even after harvesting it, so removal of stalk is there, and then these are crushed through a bucket press, and then juice extraction is there. See, when you are extracting juice, so the peel of the grapes will be there, so these have to be filtered. So after filtration, you will get a sort of clarified grape juice without the skin, without the grape skin. Okay, now this juice that has been extracted, that will be cloudy, so clarification needs to be done in order to remove all the cloudiness. So it is done at low temperature storage for 3 to 4 months for settling of cream and tartar in case of grape juice. Okay, so after 3 or 4 months, these are filtered and then bottled, and crown corking is generally done in case of grape juice, and then pasteurized, cooled, and then stored at a low temperature in order to prevent any microbial growth. So this is the flow chart of your grape juice and for apple juice. Okay, now next we'll see next fruit beverage product is your nectar. Okay, so first of all, what is nectar? This type of fruit beverage contains at least 20% fruit juice or pulp and 15% total soluble solids, which can also be said as sugars that have been added externally. Okay, and also about 0.3% organic acid. So these acids like citric acid or ascorbic acid up to a limit of 0.3% acid, and is not diluted before serving. So nectar, it contains minimum 20%. Okay, 20% fruit juice or fruit pulp, 15% TSS, that is total soluble solids or sugars, and 0.3% acid. So this is the composition of nectar, and after it is formed, it is not served diluted, it is served as it is. It is not to be diluted before serving. So commercially, nectar with 13% TSS and 0.3% acid can be prepared by using this standardized method, which has been developed by ND University of Agriculture and Technology, Faridabad. So in this case, we have mango, which has fruit pulp of 20%, and again, like your TSS is maintained at 13% and acid at 0.3%. Okay, so with this recipe, your nectar is prepared. Okay, now okay, one more thing, for preparing the above beverages, the total soluble solids and total acid present in the pulp or juice are first determined, and then requisite amount of sugar and citric acid dissolved in water are added for the adjustment of TSS and acidity. That is, first your raw material, suppose in case of nectar, you are using fruit juice or fruit pulp. So what you will do, okay, first pulp or your fruit juice, you need to check for the initial TSS. You need to determine the initial TSS, and based on that, and like after you have determined the initial TSS, suppose it is say 9%, so it needs to be increased to 13%. So then you will add 4 sugar, which will make up the rest of the 4%. Okay, in case of like TSS you measured, another thing that you have to check is your acidity of the fruit juice or the fruit pulp. After acidity has been determined, so you need to make it up to 0.3% acidity. So you need to add according to that, according to initial acidity or according to initial acid content, you will compensate for rest of the acid. Suppose if your acid is high, then you need to dilute, okay, before preparation, or you need to neutralize this acid, because otherwise the acidity or the sourness of your nectar will be very too much. Okay, so in this case, first you will determine the initial acidity and initial TSS or the acid content of your fruit juice or fruit pulp, and then in order to standardize it, you need to add external citric acid dissolved in water or external sugars dissolved in water, either as direct sugars or as syrup, to compensate if any lack is there. So nectar can also be prepared at home by employing this following recipe. So this is just an example by which you can prepare fruit nectar at home. For example, you take the example of mango. So if you are preparing mango nectar, so your juice, if you have 1 liter of juice, you will add 0.6 kg, that is 600 grams of sugar, 13 grams of citric acid dissolved in water, and you will make up the volume by adding 3.3 liters of water. Similarly, for different fruits like papaya, guava, bale, jamun, anola blend. So these are the recipes for all this type like nectars of all these fruits. So this can be tried at home. So next we will see cordial. So it is a sparkling, clear, sweetened fruit juice from which pulp and other insoluble substances have been completely removed. Okay, in case of cordial, so it is a clear, so you have to keep it in mind, it is sparkling, clear, sweetened fruit juice, okay, from which other suspended or other substances have been removed or clarified. Okay, it contains at least 25% juice, so you need to remember all this composition or percentages, and 25% juice should be there and 30% TSS should be there. So these are the standards for this beverage to be called as a cordial. Okay, so it also contains about 1.5% acid and 350 ppm of sulfur dioxide, that is sulfur dioxide here is added in form of as a preservative. Okay, so 350 ppm of sulfur dioxide is added, which acts as a preservative. Now sulfur dioxide is not added directly because sulfur dioxide is a gas, so it is added in form of KMS. So next, lime and lemon are suitable for making cordial. So generally lime and lemon cordials are more suitable for making this cordial. In homes, cordial can be prepared using the following recipe. So this recipe is like if you are preparing lime and lemon cordial, so 1 liter of this juice, lemon or lime juice will be required, 1.25 kgs of sugar, 1 liter of water, and potassium metabisulfate, that is 2 grams. So 2 grams of potassium metabisulfate is required, or KMS, okay, which will serve as a preservative. So this KMS is easily available in market and is used as a preservative in order to prevent any sort of fermentation, and serves as a source of your sulfur dioxide. So this is your recipe for making cordial at home. Now your next one is this flow sheet for making cordial. Okay, first you will select your fruit, you will wash them thoroughly, or even like if in order to remove the any residues, crop residues, chemical residues, you will wash it with acidulated water using HCl. Then you will cut it into halves, you will extract the juice from it, strain it in order to make it clear. See, you have to remember this cordial is a clarified or clear juice. Okay, you will strain it, addition of preservative, that is KMS, in the ratio 1 gram is per liter of juice. Okay, so storing in glass containers for 10 to 15 days for clarification. So this will also serve to clarify your juice. So like settling will be there. Okay, all the solid particles or suspended particles will be settled down. Suspended material will then be removed, okay, by siphoning of the supernatant clear juice. Okay, so that solid particles which have been settled down will be left behind, and the supernatant will be siphoned off. Now straining and measuring, that is, you will strain and measure how much juice you have got, and then preparing a syrup of sugar to be added, straining it, mixing of juice with syrup. The juice you have got, you will mix it with your sugar syrup in order to make up the TSS. Then addition of preservative, again KMS in the ratio 0.6 grams per liter of the product. In that case we were using per liter of the juice. Here after addition of syrup we will add it in the ratio 0.6 or 600 like 0.6 grams per liter of the product along with the syrup. Okay, then after adding of preservative you will bottle it, cap it and keep it in storage at a cool dry place for increasing the keeping quality of your cordial. Now next product is your squashes. Okay, this is a type of fruit beverage containing at least 25% fruit juice or pulp and 40 to 50% TSS commercially. That is, in this case your sugar syrup or your sugars or your TSS is high in the range of 40 to 50%, and your fruit juice is around 25% only. Okay, so it also contains 1% acid. In this most of the cases we are adding citric acid, and 350 ppm of sulfur dioxide or 600 ppm of sodium benzoate. So in case you are using sodium benzoate you need to add 600 ppm, and if you are using sulfur dioxide you need to add in the ratio 350 ppm. So it is then diluted before serving. So fruit squashes, these are concentrated, concentrated form in which your amount of sugar is higher and your comparatively the fruit content is lesser. It is around 25% and your sugar is around 40 to 50% TSS. So mango, oranges, pineapple are used for making squashes commercially. So one more thing, the squashes need to be diluted before serving, that is it need to be mixed with water before serving or before consuming. Okay, it can also be prepared from lime, lemon, bale, guava, lychee. So different type of fruits are there, musk melon, papaya, etc. Using potassium metabisulfate as a preservative, or from jamun, okay, passion fruit, peaches, falsa, and in this case you have to use sodium benzoate as preservative. Okay, so you can go through this ones, like all these fruits, if you're preparing squashes from these fruits, so you need to utilize potassium metabisulfate or KMS as your preservative. But if you're using fruits like jamun, passion fruit, peaches, falsa, plum, mulberry, raspberry, strawberry, grapes, so you need to utilize or you need to add sodium benzoate as your preservative. Okay, so next we'll see the flow chart for squashes, how it is prepared. So after you receive your fruits, like after fruit selection should be nice, only the ripe fruits should be used for making squashes. Then they are washed with plain water or acidulated water depending on the need. Okay, after that trimming will be there, that is extra parts of the fruit will be removed and pulp will be extracted. Cutting or grating, then juice extraction. After cutting the fruit or pulping it or like grating it, so that juice will be extracted after crushing the pulp, and then juice it will be strained so as to remove any pulp that is left behind. Then juice measuring will be there, how much juice we have extracted. Now based on the amount of juice you will prepare your sugar syrup. So in this case we require 40% to 50% sugars to be added in the final product, that the sugars in your final product should be around 40 to 50%. Okay, so preparation of syrup is done by adding sugar, water plus little acid, heating just to dissolve the sugars. Okay, now citric acid, if you are adding citric acid, in this case around 1% final acid should be there, so it is added while preparing your syrup itself. After that, straining of this syrup will be there in order to remove the cloudiness in the sugar syrup, and then this syrup will be mixed with your fruit juice or the juice that you have extracted in the given ratio. Okay, now addition of preservative, and these preservatives are added in the ratio 0.6 gram KMS or 1 gram sodium benzoate per liter of the squash. So after mixing it with juice, the amount you will get, so in 1 liter you will add either 0.6 grams of your KMS or 1 gram of your sodium benzoate, and it is to be kept in this ratio. So after this mixing has been done thoroughly, so these are bottled and then capping is done, and then stored for longer shelf life in a cool temperature, in a lower temperature, in a dry place. Okay, so naturally these squashes, they have a higher sugar content, so their shelf life is comparatively higher to other products which have a lower sugar content. Okay, so like home recipe for making squashes is given here. If you are making from orange, sugar should be 1.75 kgs, or water should be 1 liter. Okay, 1 liter. Water should be 1 liter. Citric acid, if it is to be added, like after since you are making it at home, you don't have methods to measure the acidity or TSS beforehand, so in general 20 grams of citric acid is added and 2.5 grams of KMS is added. Okay, so again, like for different fruits the recipe is given, and if you are making squash using these fruits, so instead of KMS you will add sodium benzoate, and depending on the fruit and depending on the amount of sugar or amount of your pulp or juice that you are taking, so the amount of preservative will also differ. So this recipe is for 1 liter fruit pulp or fruit juice, fruit pulp or your juice. So in 1 liter you will add all these quantities. Okay, now KMS here stands for potassium metabisulfate, and SB stands for your sodium benzoate. So this was about squashes and flowchart of squashes and home recipe of how to make squash at home. Or then we'll see now syrups. Okay, now fruit syrups are also available in market as unfermented fruit beverages. So these fruit syrups, they are a certain like concentrated form of your fruit juice. Okay, this type of fruit beverage contains at least 25% fruit juice or pulp and 65% total soluble solid. That is minimum fruit content in any fruit beverage here that we have seen should be 25% fruit juice or fruit pulp and sugar. In this case, in case of sugar syrup, final sugar concentration should be around 65%. Okay, it also contains 1.3 to 1.5% acids. Generally we are adding citric acid most commonly. Okay, and is diluted before serving. Okay, since the sugar content is so high, since the TSS is so high, so you need to dilute it, you need to mix it with water before serving or before making it into final consumable form. Now fruits like falsa, jamun, pomegranate, grape, lemon, orange and sometimes ginger can also be used for preparation of syrup. It is also prepared from extracts of rose, sandal, almond, etc. So now these fruit syrups, they may be prepared directly from your fruits, or they may be prepared from extracts of rose, sandal and almond. So preservatives can also be added, since this has very high amount of sugar, so generally preservatives can be omitted. Okay, high sugar amount means less microbial growth will be less. So generally you can omit the addition of your preservative, but if you want to prevent it from fermentation, if you're using a fruit which is easily fermented, so you can add certain amount of preservative like KMS or your sodium benzoate. Now we'll see this different fruit syrups which are prepared from extracts. For example, rose extract. Syrup containing extracts of rose, sandal and kevada, mint, almond, etc. are very popular, and preparation of some of these syrups is described here. So first of all, rose syrup. So clean rose petals around 100 grams are soaked overnight in about 200 ml of water, then well rubbed, heated for about 5 minutes and then strained. So the extract or the water you will get, that 200 ml water in which this 100 gram were soaked, so that will contain the essence or the all the organic matter that has been leached from your petals into the water. The syrup is prepared by using 100 ml of rose extract. So this extract has been prepared, right? So the syrup is prepared by adding 100 ml of rose extract and 700 grams of sugar, 10 grams of citric acid and 250 ml of water. Okay, so general recipe for making rose syrup is 100 ml of rose extract which we have prepared by mixing 100 gram of rose petals into your 200 ml of water overnight, then heated and rubbed for 5 minutes and then strained. Okay, so 100 ml rose extract plus 700 grams sugar, and then you're adding 10 grams of citric acid and 250, and dissolving it or making up the volume by adding 250 ml of water. So this is your general composition or general recipe for making rose extract, syrup from rose extract. Now after rose extract we have sandal syrup, in which sandalwood powder around 50 gram is soaked overnight in about 250 ml of water and then heated for 5 minutes and then strained. So this will extract all the essence or all the like matter from your sandalwood powder, and the syrup is prepared by using this extract, that is 1.3 kg of sugar is added into this extract, which you are getting by mixing 50 grams of sandalwood powder in 250 ml of water. Now you are adding 1.3 kg of sugar, 400 ml of water and 10 grams of citric acid. Sometimes Kevra essence is also added in this sandalwood extract, okay, in order to give it a pleasant aroma. Okay, this was your sandalwood syrup. Next is your almond syrup. Okay, so what happens in almond syrup? Almond kernels around 50 grams are soaked in 200 ml of hot water for some time, like not overnight but certain amount of time. You can also leave it for overnight, and then the loosened skin is removed and the kernel are ground in 10 grams of cardamom, the small cardamom, green one. So these are ground with 10 grams of cardamom and the juice is then strained. The syrup is prepared by using this above extract. This will give you a almond extract. So the syrup is prepared by using this above extract with 1.3 kg of sugar, 10 grams of citric acid and 350 ml of water. Sometime, like again, Kevra or rose essence can be added in order to give it a pleasant aroma. Okay, so this is the general recipe for making almond syrup. Okay, now next is your fruit juice concentrates. Now a fruit juice from which water has been mostly removed by heating or by freezing is called a concentrate. Now this water may be completely removed and this fruit juice may be converted into powder, or it may be partially removed to convert this fruit juice into very concentrated form. Okay, now they contain pure juice with at least 32% total soluble solid. Now this 32% final total soluble solid may be either from the natural sources, the sugar that is present in the fruit, or maybe externally added in order to compensate and make it up to 32% TSS. The major advantage of this concentrate is reduced weight and bulk compared to juice, results in economy in packaging, storage and transport. Since we are removing moistures, the first advantage that comes is, so these fruit concentrates are very compact in bulk and in volume and are easy to travel, so they will give you a economic benefit in packaging and storing and transport. The whole crop of the fruit is fully utilized during peak season and thus helping to stabilize the price. That is, if you convert these fruit juices into your concentrate form, you can keep it for a long time. So during the peak season, any extra fruit that is left over, you need not throw it, you need to convert it into fruit concentrate or fruit concentrate powder form, and then you can utilize it in off season also. Okay, the product can be used as base material for making various food and beverage formulations. So this can be utilized in various recipes of food and even in bakery, like in order to give it a particular fruity taste or make a fruit bun out of this. So this concentrate powder or these concentrates can be utilized. Okay, now there are certain problems with these fruit concentrates. First of all is fermentation is not prevented. That is, you are removing the moisture, but fermentation and anaerobic fermentation may still take place. Then non-enzymatic browning may occur. Okay, and since you are concentrating it, the moisture content is being removed, but non-enzymatic browning can still occur and gel formation can take place while concentrating it or while removing the moisture content from your fruit concentrates. Okay, but the advantage outweighs the disadvantage or the problems which can be solved by adding preservative. Like fermentation can be prevented by adding preservative. Okay, so this was all about your fruit concentrates and your fruit beverages, unfermented fruit beverages. Next we will study about your different tomato products. Okay.